Centrally speaking fans in Jamaica and across the world, wagwan and the good?
Every week, we start a conversation around important matters of economics and finance, matters of national importance that have an impact on your life. I'm Sheena.
And I'm Anna. We're happy to see everyone, all our Centrally speaking fans. Sheena, tell everyone what's on the show today.
We continue to educate and inform you of the work of Bank of Jamaica and other partners. And today we'll be talking with Hank Williams. He's the Deputy Commissioner General for the Strategic Services at the Tax Administration of Jamaica, otherwise known as TAJ.
Yes, so Hank will explain the digital commerce and taxation. Interesting.
But before we have a chat with our guest, we want to hear from you. It's time for Street Check.
Check, check.
Do you think e-commerce companies should be required to pay the same taxes as brick and mortar businesses?
As an e-commerce business, you are online, so you don't have a physical space. Now, companies that have a physical space or businesses that has a physical space, they would perhaps be entitled to pay property tax, right? And that's fine, but you don't have a physical space, so you shouldn't pay taxes like those.
I want to say no. Well, honestly, for brick and mortar, like I think someone told me, you can own the land, or someone owns the land, but who owns the internet? You get me? So I don't think so.
No, they're not required to pay the same tax because they might pay property taxes for the building and pay social media tax. Are two different things. That
taxes and that sort of thing, I guess it's everybody thing. And in terms of for the country to move forward, you still going to have to pay your taxes, so there has to be a balance,
I think so, because if it's even commerce, you have to have a physical location where you're going to use your laptop or your phone or, So I would say the same, but maybe half or, Yeah.
Yes, to my knowledge, because they're doing the same businesses. They might not have a property or a store, but it's the same business, same way.
You guys are our favorite part of the show, right? It's always great to hear from you, the people in the streets.
And joining us now is Hank Williams, Deputy Commissioner General, Strategic Services at the Tax Administration of Jamaica, TAJ. He will be telling us about the work of TAJ, specifically about its efforts in measuring digital trade and its impact on the economy. Hank, welcome to Centrally Speaking.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the invitation to be here with you both.
It's great to have you, and welcome to Centrally Speaking. All right, so first question. I'm dying to know, what's your role at the TAJ?
I'm the Deputy Commissioner General responsible for strategic services. That entails strategic corporate planning. It entails modernization of the organization, as well as enterprise risk management and project management.
What exactly is digital trade and e-commerce?
E-commerce is the utilization of digital services to conduct business and to bring customers closer to services, goods and services that are required for their needs.
Digital trade is becoming more and more commonplace, and there are some people who think that digital transactions shouldn't be taxed, because of the borderless nature and so on. So people that sell e-books, and digital products, download products, them are things that's supposed to tax. But you as Deputy Commissioner General, tell me why you need to tax those things, why we can't get them free.
Great, that's a very interesting angle to look on it from the way of persons would want to be able to benefit by way of not being taxed. But we have to bear in mind, as we have in Jamaica, that digital trade, the e-commerce, poses a unique challenge to taxation and something that we have to treat with. But importantly, as we look on it, taxing digital and commercial trade, it is legitimate and it is necessary. And why I say that? Because the taxing system has to be fair. The persons who have brick and mortar, as opposed to those who have the digital benefit in terms of digital trade, they also need to be fairly treated, and the tax must be equitable. It doesn't stop there. because the tax system is required to provide the revenue necessary to provide goods and services. We want our roads to be fixed,
Yeah.
right? You want to go to the hospitals and you get the services.
God
Yes.
forbid.
You want to go to the schools and you get the services. So it's important that we have the resources. And I know you want your pay too.
Hank?
Yes, as a government employee, you want to benefit from that. So it's important that we have the revenue. But critically too, as I look on the whole matter of revenue and trying to do this, it's important that we look at the economic nexus.
Yes.
Where is it that the service is offered? Where is it that the service is received? That ought to be dealt with too as part of the taxing, especially as we move now. You may be receiving service from somebody in Dubai, but you get it here.
Right.
Shouldn't the country benefit from that in terms of the revenue? So
Yes.
it's something that we have to look into very carefully. And I say Jamaica has taken all the necessary steps to ensure that we are going to treat with this in a very fair and equitable manner.
Are digital products in Jamaica currently taxed?
At this point, we are putting in the mechanism in place
Okay.
that we can treat with the digital economy.
Okay.
So you still have some time, guys.
Jamaica has been a part of the inclusive framework
Yes.
at the international level to look on how is it that we deal with taxing rights
Right.
Yeah.
to ensure that we have the mechanism in place that we can treat with taxation.
So, Hank, data. The capturing of data and leveraging of data is actually a value differentiator for many organizations. Share with us the role of data analytics in determining digital commerce strategies.
Data analytics is very critical for us. In any country, data is the pillar on which we make decisions. It's important to ensure that we have the appropriate mechanism in place that we can plan well.
Yes.
It's important for us to plan well in terms of how is it that we identify the various sectors that we should target, as well as ensuring that the people would pay who should pay,
Yes.
that they are brought into the net. And importantly, as we look on it, the whole matter of the data analytics, it's good also for personalization, because you're now able to, as persons trade online, you're able to bring services as persons need to them.
Yes.
So persons are based on the footprints on the internet, on these various platforms. Persons are able to better target you in terms of products that you would need
Yes.
and services. But important as we look on it though, it's important for us to optimize in terms of revenue collections, in terms of the whole matter of decision making.
Right.
It's very important too. And we believe as we look at the whole matter of data protection, we look at privacy, it also helps in that way because it helps us to be able to understand that we need to treat with persons' data in a very respectful way. And it also helps to enhance the whole matter of data security.
Right.
In terms of how is it that we look at building systems are robust enough to treat with cyber attack and any other things that could affect the way in which persons' data is treated with.
So no doubt, since the COVID-19 pandemic, it brought about an exponential increase in digital trade. As we were locked down, and more services went online, and more online-based services were offered. So, speaking of data analytics and the value of data, do you have a figure of the value of Jamaica's digital trade? What is sold on Instagram, what is sold, through Twitter, well, X, on Facebook, online, websites, what is that value of trade that goes on here?
The data is showing for Jamaica that we'll reach approximately $1 billion in 2025.
Oh, yeah, say.
There's a lot there to be gained.
Oh, yeah, say.
So it's very booming as we see in terms of the data showing also. Although more than 60% of the services are offered through online platforms now.
Right.
And to me,
Okay.
it's very important that we look on that. So there's great value there. It's very important that we put the systems in place that we can tap into that. I can proudly say here that Tax Administration Jamaica, from where we sit prior to the COVID pandemic, had started to transform our organization to be able to meet the change in economy, because we realized very early that you could no longer separate the digital economy from the real economy, and ensuring that we had the necessary systems in place. That Jamaica is one of the few countries across the world who, in terms of its loss during the COVID pandemic, was about 18% in terms of revenue.
Okay.
Very important. As we value it, we have to ensure that they put the systems in place that we can optimize and maximize the revenue that is needed for the greater good of the country.
All right, Hank, so with the rise of e-commerce, tell us how tax regulation and tax compliance have evolved.
The matter of e-commerce is one which is high on the global and national agenda,
Right.
because we have to come to grip with the challenges faced in terms of ensuring that there's fairness, there is also equity and transparency, especially as businesses evolve in this dynamic space. The global stage, there's a lot of discussions on how is it that we can put the appropriate regime in place to ensure that the taxing is fair and it provides an equitable treatment of both persons who do business, online business,
Yes.
doing various modalities. Very important too. Locally, we are putting in the necessary legislative framework to allow us to be able to ensure that we have appropriate taxing rights. But in the interim, I can say to you that Jamaica has been doing all in its powers to ensure that we identify persons who ought to be brought in the net, those who need to pay their fair share. We have put the necessary compliance strategy in place to ensure that we risk persons and we target appropriately.
So when you say risk person, you mean rate the risks
Yes.
of persons?
Yes.
Okay, thank
Because
you.
we have in our database, we have the tax returns that are filed at the appropriate time.
Yeah,
We also have third-party information that we get from various sources.
right.
And that have allowed us to be able to have targeted interventions
Right.
in terms of how is it that we identify persons who need to be, one, brought into the net, also persons who have paid and they may not have filed, persons who are in the net and they have not paid or filed, or persons who may have paid and filed but they have not paid the correct amount, they may have underreport. So we ensure that we have strategies to meet with those. And importantly, any good tax system has to have a robust taxpayer education and service mechanism around it. We have ensured that that's a part of our risking strategy too.
Hank, a previous response sparked a question in me. When you gave the example of somebody getting a service from Dubai and enjoying it in Jamaica, and how do you tax that? So it led me to think about cross-border taxation. But for the benefit of our viewers, please first define cross-border taxation and then tell us, especially from a company's perspective, how do they navigate the difficulties in managing taxation, cross-border taxation?
So cross-border taxation really treats with how is it that we put regimes in place to tax persons who operate in different countries.
Okay.
I can say from Jamaica's perspective, it's an issue that we realize that we have to treat with or work in the inclusive framework as bring us to a point where we are very active in a discussion. We have so far entered into 7 exchange of information, and we have 3 multi-jurisdiction agreements that have allowed us to get data from various different countries.
Okay.
And we're able to identify where the source is in terms of where we should tax. But importantly, the agreements that we have entered into, we have put in place, for example, an advanced pricing agreement.
Okay.
So persons can determine very early with us what is the amount of tax they should pay, and we are also able to enter into those agreements with businesses. So we basically allow for a framework in which we can be able to upfront establish what is the taxes that ought to be paid in a very collaborative way.
Hank, I am interested to know, because you're a data man. How has digital services and e-commerce especially changed consumer behavior? You know, I've seen some things, but let me hear from you as the expert.
I think they allow in terms of convenience and access. You're able to order shoes from China.
Hey, Hanka, watch me
You
now.
can order shoes from China, right? You can order
Not
property-
China.
Not China, okay. Maybe you could order it from America. You could order here from America, and you get it here. So it's convenience, and it's also you're able to get services from various different countries.
Right.
Also, in terms of the time of day, you can be able to order in the middle of the night. You don't have to wait until a store open. You can go on. You can in the middle of the night. I say I need to buy something. You can get that easily.
Yes.
Also, things are able to be personalized because they know, for example, they know you like a particular shoes,
Right.
you like a particular dress.
Yes.
These online platforms are so customized that based on the hits, they're able to put that right in your face.
The
Ah,
algorithm.
algorithm.
Yes.
Algorithm is there, so it can help
Stalk you.
Yeah,
Yes,
man.
they know exactly what you like. They're able to do that. So, critically, as we look at it, it has influenced behavior in a very unique way. And the data is also showing that you're also able to make comparison in terms of prices.
Tell us a little bit about some of the e-commerce trends that businesses or business owners need to be mindful of.
The trends that we have seen now is that there are a lot more persons who are using social media.
Right.
So the social media platform has been a very big area in terms of which persons have used to increase their presence. We would never thought that our mobile phones would be so powerful. Now persons have been using that as avenues on which they can do business.
Yes.
So in terms of the ME economy, it's very important that we look on that too. And also in terms of various platforms that are available on YouTube's, all those, critical that we look on those. So they are very much a trend towards looking at different areas in which persons can market their products and services.
Thank you.
Right. Hank, we have more questions for you, right? This has been so interesting so far. We're talking to the taxman, Hank Williams, Deputy Commissioner General at the TAJ. Centrally speaking, we'll be right back.
Welcome back to Centrally Speaking. Our guest today is Hank Williams, Deputy Commissioner General, Strategic Services at the Tax Administration Jamaica.
All right, so Hank, the World Trade Organization recently published the second edition of the Handbook on Measuring Digital Trade. I happen to know that you had something to do with it. I mean, the TAJ as an organization, but you specifically had something to do with it. Could you kindly share with us, you know, the specific role and describe for us what the handbook entails or contains?
I had the distinct privilege of co-authoring a detailed case study with Mr. Esmond McLean from the BOJ.
Oh, that was
and
you.
Mrs. Deidre Codner Campbell.
Right.
Yes.
And that handbook provided practical examples as well as general applications that the global community can use to measure digital trade. And this work is one in which has been seen as a pillar on which the global community can use in order to estimate the value of digital trade and e-commerce globally. And that work has been very pivotal in terms of, has put us on the stage where we have been asked to be a part of the deliberations that will take place in December to put the mechanism in place that we can accurately measure digital trade, because in e-commerce we cannot hide from the fact that there is a trend and that it is important that we have in place the appropriate mechanism that we can measure the value to an economy as we continue to put the necessary systems in place globally to facilitate e-commerce.
Hank, I want to talk to you a little bit about digital transformation, which we know has increased exponentially since the pandemic. What are some of the tools and resources you would recommend to businesses to enhance their digital transformation journey?
The matter of blockchain technology.
Right.
It's important. How is it that we have transactions in such a way we can queue them, we can track the whole matter of transactions, we can better able to see the movement of goods and services and be able to ensure that the taxi regime
Yeah.
is fair along the chain. So it's very important that we look on that. There is the matter of, for example, customer management system. How is that we put the system in place that we can have 24-hour service offering in terms of advice,
Nice.
in terms of products and services. Very important we look on that too. So there is a lot to gain from the whole expansion of the economy from a digital point of view.
Me want to know an example of a company that you've seen that has successfully transformed itself digitally.
I can share one readily with you. Tax Administration
I
Jamaica.
knew
is-
that's where you were
Tax
going.
Administration Jamaica have been successful over the last decade to put in place the necessary systems that we can function better as a tax authority. Because we believe that any business must put its customer at the heart of what it does.
Okay.
Not just the taxes must be collected in such a way where there's ease of doing business, and we have been able to implement a robust tax system, which have allowed us to the revenue administration, revenue
Yes.
administration system. And I must share with you that the name was given from an internal competition,
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
and that is
Yes.
also, as we look at digital transformation,
Nice.
our people must be a part of it. They must feel a part of it.
Yes.
So Tax Administration Jamaica has been successful. They have been able to move our products and services online. And it has done in such a way where there is fairness. You can be able to see what your liabilities are, what your obligations are in real time. You have also been able to see when are your due dates.
Yes.
Those will come effective to you. If there's any reminders that you need to get. So it's very important that we look on it, that we appreciate that Tax Administration Jamaica is prepared to help persons to better meet their obligations for the greater good of the country. And that is to provide necessary revenue that we can provide public goods and services for the benefit of all.
All right, so I want you to now talk to our business leaders, Hank. Do you have any final thoughts on business leaders who are currently engaged in or considering embarking on a digital transformation journey?
I'm very appreciative of that question
Yes.
because the digital economy is here to stay. And as we look on that, it's important that business leaders take into consideration that change management is important.
Yes.
How do we prepare our staff for the change? Because this whole digital transformation comes with it the need for new skills,
Yes.
also for training. It also puts in place the important for us to ensure that we put the necessary mechanisms in place that we can plan for the medium term, long term. How is it that we transform our business environment in such a way that it is fit for purpose and to ensure that our customers benefit at the heart of it? Important as we look on it, though, it's also important that the information that comes, that business leaders use it to help them in their decision making and also in terms of how they plan. And it's very important that those be brought into consideration.
What are some of the key priorities for you and TAJ over the next few years?
Key priority for us as Tax Administration Jamaica is to ensure that as we continue the path of digitalization, that we ensure that the whole matter of change management, which is important to us, that we have our staff ready as we expand our landline offering, that we ensure that that is in place, to use the data that we have to ensure that it's better able to help us to plan
Yes.
as we expand in terms of our third-party sources, in terms of data sources, and also help us we believe that as we have that data, we have to improve our internal capacity in terms of data analytics.
Yes.
And we utilize that in terms of our analytical skills and partnership. Importantly though, we have to continue to have a very strong compliance risk management system
Yes.
that is fit for purpose, and we retool persons into ensuring that they have the appropriate training, and the whole matter of strategic planning
Yes.
is critical. Ensure of how do we plan for the medium and long term, very critical in terms of how we move forward.
We have been speaking with Hank Williams, Deputy Commissioner General at the Strategic Services at Tax Administration Jamaica. He has been sharing about TAJ's efforts at capturing e-commerce and digital trade. Centrally Speaking, we'll be back after the break. Welcome back to Centrally Speaking. It's now time to recap the major highlights from today's discussion. We spoke with Hank Williams of TAJ. Now let's get into the fast facts. Number 1. Digital trade or e-commerce is the utilization of digital services to conduct business, for example, any buying or selling of products or services over the internet. Number 2. The value of Jamaica's digital trade, according to the latest data, will be $1 billion in 2025. Number 3. Taxation must be fair. Therefore, TAJ must assess both brick and mortar and digital trade. Taxation is necessary and provides resources for goods and services that countries require. Number 4. Blockchain technology and artificial intelligence, otherwise known as AI, are two tools businesses can use to increase efficiency in operations and expand. And number 5, TAJ must put in place systems to move their service offerings online to increase ease of doing business and allow consumers to meet their taxation obligations in a timely manner. And that's it for the Fast Facts. Viewers, we've come to the end of another program. Follow us on X and Facebook at Central Bank JA and on Instagram at Central Bank Jamaica and on BOJ's YouTube channel. You can also visit our website at www.boj.org.jm.
And as usual, I ask you to send in your questions on X or Facebook.
And of course, watch another episode of Centrally Speaking next week at the same time right here on your station, when we will have another special guest.
Yes, the good thing then. I'm Anna.
And I'm Sheena. Thanks for watching. Centrally Speaking is a production of Bank of Jamaica.